I hear the music. And you know what that means?
Santa Claus is coming to town?
Not quite yet, Jenny. But what is coming?
Another episode of
Sick and Tired 2.0.
And sadly, this will be our last episode of 2022. Have you been naughty or nice this year?
I'd rather not say. But what I would rather do is talk about our mental and physical health through the holidays. I will give an acupuncture update.
And I'll give an ankle update on this episode of
Sick and Tired 2.0.
A Sassy Bitches production. Still a little sicker.
And during the holidays, a lot tireder.
Sassy Bitches Productions presents 2.0.
All right, so as we teased in the intro of episode 21, our holiday episode, we want to hear the update on Jenny's ankle.
Okay, so since my ankle can't talk, I'll do the update. It's actually going very well. I started PT last week. I have gone from having to use a knee scooter to now I am walking with one crutch.
Wow.
And
can I call you Tiny Tim?
I look like Tiny Tim or Peg Leg Pete. Yes, is what I call myself. It's Merry Christmas, everyone. Yes. Seriously though, I have a walking boot only when I'm outside of the house. It's more to keep people. It's kind of keep people aware that there's something going on with my ankle and to protect my ankle when I'm outside. But so my PT person, this is what happened. I rolled in my scooter, and the guy that does my PT goes, "Why the hell are you still on that?" And I go, "I don't know."
Because it's cute, and she looks cute when she's on it.
She's good on it, and then I have it all decorated for the holidays, so whatever.
Oh my God, do you seriously?
Yeah, I have a so instead of a basket on it that came with it, I have a stocking that I was using. It's a Hello Kitty Christmas stocking that I was using to put stuff in it. But anyway, so I have been using that. I'm a lot slower, obviously, with my little crutch because I can't roll around quickly. But I had that, and the reason why I was still using that is because the surgeon had said, "I cleared you to go to PT," and he goes, "Let the PT person decide if you want to, if you're going to start walking, because you definitely need to build up your muscles." So to say that I'm walking is it's not pretty to watch because I have very little muscle. My leg has been, so like not used to walking. Let's just say that like my ankle isn't real flexible. So we're working on that. We're working on range of motion, and then I have like no muscles to support my legs. So my leg it's very weak. But things that I have been able to do that are very positive. I was able to shower completely on my own because before Robert would have to like help me in and out of the shower. And once I was in there, I still sit on a shower bench, but once I was in there, I was fine. I could shower myself, but Robert would have to help me in and out. Now I can do it completely on my own. I don't have to worry that if he's in a different part of the house, that I might fall. So that just being able to do that on my own has been just wonderful. And then I call him PT Kevin, the guy that does my PT. He even said, he goes, "Okay, so you should try driving, but just go to like an empty parking lot and just try it for like a couple minutes. Just try the gas and the brake, just to see how it feels." And he goes, "I have a feeling you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna be driving in the next couple of weeks." So I felt like Rain Man. You know how Rain Man goes, "My dad would let me drive on the driveway." Yeah. So that's what I felt like. I had my Rain Man moment where I was in the empty parking lot and gassing and braking, and I did a couple ovals and felt pretty good. So I'm gonna start probably the bad thing is bad weather, I think, is coming. So I don't want to be out in bad weather because I can't like suddenly slam on a brake. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I can do normal gas brake. So thank goodness. So there's a little bit of freedom with that, just being able, not just knowing that Robert doesn't have to drop me off every place. and I can use my crutch. So I still have to crawl up on my hands and knees up and down the stairs. I also am starting to do PT on my wrist because
that's right.
My poor wrist, that didn't get any attention because the ankle was getting all the attention. And then it still, even though it was injured, had to be like the support of my body to help me get up and down and all that. So I'm doing PT on my wrist now because it was injured when I fell. But it kind of took a backseat to my ankle. So now we're doing PT on the wrist and PT on my ankle. And so so I told you that earlier we had to change our insurance this year, that Robert's company decided to change. And so it used to be that like when we had Blue Cross Blue Shield, if we met our deductible, 100% of the stuff was paid after that. So it was great. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously we've met our deductible because I had a surgery, right? But it's 90% of it is paid. And so 10% of a huge bill is a lot of freaking money. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So that sucks. And so we have, so that's the holidays for us, is where we have a huge amount of bills. So between me and my cats, our cats are like diabetic. We a lot of outgoing money, but and I had PT again today, and I walked in today with a crutch, and he was like, hey, he goes, that looks great. And I'm like, okay, because I feel like I'm walking like a slow old person, but better than that.
If he says that it looks great and then it must be, I know it's challenging because you don't feel like it's great or it's getting any better at times, and I think that's the way it is with everything that we go through. Yes. But your PT is saying that it is, then that's encouraging.
Well, and what I can tell that I'm able to do more now is stuff for myself, which is, it seems like it would be awesome that somebody's waiting on you, but like I am very independent and I don't like having to have somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm for me. Yeah. And I could tell it was like overwhelming Robert because he's got like everything has to do now. And I think he's also appreciating some of the stuff that I always did. And so like, even just, this sounds really stupid, but even getting my own glass of water is a big deal, because at least now, since I only have the one crutch, I can carry a glass of water.
Right.
And before I would never have been able to carry an open like liquid, right? So and I also started my working, so I have to, and I think it's been nice for me to get out of the house, even though Robert has to like now stop working, take me to work, blah blah blah, but he might not have to do that so much anymore but I'm doing PT like twice a week, so that's luckily.
Doesn't it make you feel grateful? Because if you think about those people that are permanently disabled,
I know,
like their independence, and they have to depend on other people to just get them that glass of water. That makes you kind of take a step back and feel great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like I said, I appreciate that. Like now, I know my problem is going to be temporary. My issues are going to be temporary. And I have a greater appreciation of how not ADA compliant, like even so the school that I work at, technically they are ADA compliant, but that ramp to get up, it's not even really ramp. It's just the sidewalk is done in a way so that it is a gradual ramp to get up to the building. Mm-hmm. But if it was like icy at all, that thing would be a nightmare. And because the ground, freezes and swells and stuff like that, some of the sidewalk is uneven. And so for my scooter it was kind of difficult to get up and down on that. Yeah. And I think of like, gosh, if I had to be in a wheelchair all the time, this would not be very fun. Or I've been in places that there's dirt and gravel on their sidewalks and they don't realize like that sucks to go over that with your wheels. It about knocks you down. So things that people don't think about that are like, that are really hard for other people to like get across. And I have a greater appreciation for that. So, but anyway, so I just kind of want to hear an update on your acupuncture treatments. And I'm sure the listeners would like to hear it too.
Well, it's not too positive, unfortunately. The first 3 rounds were great. They were exhausting, as they have a tendency to be. As I was told, that just pretty much said how much my body was depleted. So as I said before, I'm dealing with adrenal fatigue, and the reason I got that diagnosis, just so everyone knows, most of your traditional medical practitioners will not recognize adrenal fatigue until it goes into later stages.
I know. I had to have an argument with my doctor about it.
Yeah. And if you do have a medical practitioner who does recognize it, hang on to them. And I would like to know who they are.
Me too.
Because let's hear who it is.
Yeah.
So don't let anyone tell you that they can test your cortisol levels through your blood, because that's baloney. Your cortisol works on a circadian rhythm from morning to night, and so on and so forth. So what it's supposed to do is start out high in the morning because your body has woken you up on that biological clock, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's supposed to just kind of taper down from there. What mine is doing is it's starting out high in the morning, but then it's dipping down overly low by the afternoon around noontime, and then it's spiking up at night when I'm supposed to when my body's supposed to get ready to go to sleep. So about 10 p.m. on is my cortisol is just kind of staying overly high. And how I found that out was through what they call a serum cortisol test, which basically they test your saliva. So it's a saliva testing that you do.
Yeah. And
you basically spit in a vial.
You spit in a tube? Is that what you do?
You spit in a tube, or in this case, this test, I stuck a cotton thing in my mouth, and I had to leave it in there for quite some time to get it really, really soaked up, and then stick it in the tube. I know. Very strange. And then there was one tube where I literally had to sit there and spit in it. So I'm not sure what the difference was, but so then I had to do that throughout the course of a day, and then submit the vials, and then they do their testing at the lab. And so then the results that came back was what I just talked about. I'm making too much cortisol. So my body is, Jenny, you were talking to me about that yin and yang thing that they talk about in acupuncture. So I am obviously more yang.
Most of us are, actually.
Yeah. Which in this case is not a good thing, because that means I have problems falling asleep.
I hear you, sister. I've been there.
Yeah, and then you put on the whole hormonal problem that I have, that I will always have on top of that. And so then you have like this whole crisis going on. I'm lucky that I am still making cortisol, but the problem is I need to start getting my cortisol down. Otherwise, my body's going to deplete itself, because it's always going to be in that fight or flight mode.
Yep.
So, adrenal fatigue, yeah. It's not fun. It's the worst. I can honestly say I would rather go through the hormonal fluctuations I went through after the hysterectomy than this, because I literally am just kind of getting through the day.
Yeah.
I can't exercise the way I used to. I can't do yoga the way I used to. I have to do some type of yoga that's a little less intense, I guess. I'm not sure that it really is going to do anything or produce anything, but I have to try and stay somewhat active. Taking a walk with the dog is probably still too exhausting.
Yeah.
I could be in my bathroom getting ready to go to work, and it's a struggle sometimes because not only do I have the adrenal fatigue going on, but I also have the digestive issue, which is popping up again because of everything is so weird. Good news is I'm not losing weight.
Hey, there's a positive.
Yeah, that's a positive. But as far as acupuncture is concerned, the first 3 visits were great, made me feel really zen, but I was really, really exhausted afterwards. I was told that was normal. Go to my 4th session, still feeling a little zen, but also a little strange. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. The 5th session that I had last Friday is the one that told me this is too aggressive. It's too much. I walked up the flight of stairs in my house and nearly passed out. And this was a day after.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I just couldn't. I could not do anything. It was exhausting. I felt more sick, I guess. I felt worse than I did even after the 3rd session. And they say it can get worse before it gets better. However, after talking with a friend who used to do acupuncture, who no longer does it, she's not licensed to do it anymore. She had seen my post and she had reached out. And she asked a lot of interesting questions. And I told her what was going on. And she asked me specifically what was going on with the appointments. And I said, well, I really don't know. I'm not an acupuncturist. I don't know. I just know that she's working on a lot of meridians. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, but that could be too much. If you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, this could be too aggressive. And so then what you have is if you do too much, then you can have what's called a paradoxical reaction. So you can end up feeling worse.
Yeah.
Well, great. That's all I need to know. But asking me all these specific questions and pretty much telling me, I think this is too aggressive for you. And I think you're in the yang state. And it sounds like she's doing too much yang and focusing on giving you too much energy and not focusing on the yin and bringing your cortisol down.
Because I said that to you too, because so for our listeners that don't, so if you think of like yin and yang, most people know about it. It's that, it looks like 2 half circles that fit together. Usually you've seen it. It's black and white, blah, blah, blah. And so in kind of, I'm going to say Asian medicine, but Chinese medicine is what most people know, but I'm going to say Asian medicine. You try and balance yin and yang. And so like, if you think of it as like a teeter-totter, so that's easier to visualize. If most of us live in a yang, so yin is more feminine is what they say, and yang is more masculine. So yang is more aggressive. So we live our lives mostly in yang. So like we drink coffee, we try to do everything now. We try to do everything quickly. So everything is more yang. So we need to balance it with yin. So if you had like a teeter-totter and everything's on the yang side and you got nothing on the yin side, we're going to balance this thing. So, most of the time when we're dealing with like medical treatments, we want to fix it now. We want to be done now. We want it to go away now. And so we want
a quick fix.
And most people can handle the quick, aggressive yang, but sometimes you can't. And so if you're doing too much aggressive yang and not enough yin to balance it, then it's going to, so like even something that could be yin, like acupuncture, I went to a gal that she would put electrodes on the acupuncture needles to speed it up. And so then that was making it too yang, which I already had an issue with being too yang. And so then she was actually making me sicker and hurting me too. But usually she would only work on 1, maybe 2 meridians at the time. And I don't have the issue like where you're trying to detoxify so many systems of your body.
Yeah, and that's what's happening to me. I mean, she's taking the little thing that she sticks in your ear and she's saying, oh, this is going off and this is going off and this is going off. So before I know it, we're working on 3 or 4 different meridians here.
Yeah, that's too.
So it's too much. And so especially with acupuncture, where you might have some detoxification going on. Detoxification in and of itself can be too aggressive for your body.
Yes.
And they tell you that when you're going through, when you're cleansing or you're doing this cleanse or that cleanse, they tell you you're going to have a Herxheimer reaction, and to offset the Herxheimer, you should go low and slow and blah, blah. Well, she's not going low and slow.
Yeah.
And considering the amount of money that I have paid, it's mind-boggling to me, Jenny, in the past year and a half, how much money I have slapped down on doctors, functional med, all of this, and, supplements. And here's the thing, too. She was totally hypocritical in what she was telling me about how she didn't want to supplement me to death, but she keeps wanting me to supplement with this thing that's energizing and this thing that's energizing and this thing. And then so by the time I'm done, there's 3 or 4 different bottles of stuff she wants me to be on. And I'm finally just like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I cannot. I'm not going to do that to myself. I went through that, and I'm not going to go through that door again. And it's too much mentally right now because there's so much conflicting answers and so much conflicting information. And what I really, really need is somebody who deals with adrenal fatigue and the strategies behind it. Hopefully, I have found a group of women who deal with adrenal fatigue, and that's all they deal with. They're called the Adrenal Fatigue Collective.
Oh my gosh, okay, that's cool to know.
Yeah, and I have a consultation with them virtually.
How did you find them?
Tuesday. You know what? Here's the thing. You and I are always reading information and reading articles, one article after another. And I came upon this website, and I'm like, yeah, right. Just another group that says they can help you and blah, blah, blah. And the more I read it, and they have a Facebook page, and the more I read people's, Facebook posts and reviews, all these different women who sound so much like me, I started getting a little intrigued by it. And they even have recipes on their site, adrenal fatigue recipes. They also said they don't believe in supplementing you to death, which, knock on wood, that they stick to that.
Yeah, hopefully they really mean it. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I liked, what they said about that was, they said, if you put the wrong supplements in your body, if you take the wrong things, it will give that paradoxical reaction, and it will not let your adrenals heal on their own, which they need to do because they are very sensitive organs.
Yeah.
So, like I said, acupuncture in and of itself, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I liked it. I think anybody listening to this, if you're thinking of it, as far as eliminating aches and pains, it will do that. It's an amazing process, and it's really a fascinating process, and it really does work. It's just that, like my husband said, you have to be really careful that you're getting the right person.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And who is doing it properly. And that is what is so hard, because you could look at that person's credentials and their website all day long, and that's not really going to tell you anything until you get on the table and see for yourself.
Yeah. And they might be great acupuncturists, but maybe they're not in tune with you because
they're not in tune with you.
Because I've even gone to people that are great Reiki people, but they're not in tune with me, and so we weren't great working together. But I do well with people that I have already a relationship or a rapport with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're not going to this acupuncturist anymore? Is that?
I'm not. The advice, I was supposed to get in touch with her after the 15th is the day I get paid. I mean, she's just so costly.
Yeah.
I mean, for 2 sessions, I paid $198. I can't keep doing that. I mean, this is ridiculous. And so the advice I was given by my friend was this. It was really great advice. She's like, look, I just wouldn't contact her again. And if she reaches out to you, I would just simply tell her what's going on with you and how you feel about it. And if she argues with you, then she's not the person for you.
Yeah. So you're going to ghost her, but that's okay.
Yeah. If she doesn't respect that or gets angry at you, whatever, you just need to be done. And she said, if you seek advice from another acupuncturist, totally up to you. You could always just sit down and ask them, was this the right strategy? And do you really think that this is something I need to do right now?
Yeah.
But she said you could also just forget about it for a while. And then maybe at some point during this whole journey that you're on, if you're feeling stronger, if you're feeling better, try it again. But, she said, I think it just might be that your system now just can't handle that type of treatment.
That's what I'm thinking too, because especially if you're dealing with such adrenal fatigue, I think it would be so stressful to your system to have that much detoxing going on. But, but it might, maybe it's just not something for right now. And so that's something good for our listeners to hear too, is that, don't assume that something isn't right for you. Maybe it's just not right now. Yeah.
And it's hard because I've certainly had some emotions around it. Like I told you, I was really hesitant, to even do this podcast because I'm so tired of talking about my health issues now. And quite honestly, like I've said, I think a lot of people are tired of hearing about it, and I don't blame them in the least. All that's going on with you in your life, it's really just depressing.
I hear you though, because when I was in the middle of my chronic issue, it just felt like it consumed my life so much. I was tired of talking about it. I was convinced everyone was tired of hearing about it, but you find out later people are in your corner that are going to be in your corner. But I think our listeners do appreciate hearing, that not everything is awesome or positive or always, you know what I mean? And it's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. When you're on the other end of it, dealing with it, you wonder when your positive is going to come along. And I've been waiting for a long time.
I don't think it's important that you're having to be positive. I think because that's not. I don't think that that's what needs to happen. You're in the middle of it, and it's hard to see your way out because it just it doesn't seem to be getting better or even changing at all. And so, and sometimes it seems like it's getting worse instead of so. So that's probably what's so tough. Because I remember being in that place where I could not see my way out of it, and I was like, there's no end in sight, and it's only going to get worse. And you're just exhausted, you're not sleeping, you're in pain constantly, you just want it to go away, and there's like one thing you can think of that would make it go away, and it's a horrible thing, but you just want it to be done. And I've been there. I've really been there, so I know. So that's probably a good time to take a break right now. Yeah, a little heavy. So when we come back, so we're kind of talking a little bit about mental health. We'll talk a little bit about the holidays and mental health, and possibly some New Year's plans, or maybe we'll do a retrospective of like our favorite podcasts from the past year. Does that sound good?
That sounds good to me. All right, don't go too far, everybody. These sassy bitches will be right back.
Late and I pretend that I don't notice when you're next to me, but I do. I might be mistaken, but I sometimes get the feeling that you notice too. And I know this place that's near here, quiet, dark and small. When we're finished here, I think that I may want a beer. How about you? It'd be nice to go out drinking with you. You would think that we've danced around each other long enough to know where to stand. My heart stops in a panic when I think how it would feel to finally hold your hand. So we wait for this to happen, or make it happen now. Either way, I think that we should start off with a drink, maybe two. It'd be nice to go out drinking with you. No big deal, we can play it nice and cool and keep the pressure off. Invite our friends. We'll have a few too many. We'll discreetly share a cab home when the evening ends. When we reach that awkward moment, standing at your door, we won't even know, 'cause we'll just smile and let it go, sail on through. It'd be nice to go out drinking with you.
Welcome back. This is Amy with an A.
And Jenny with a Z, and this is
Sick and Tired 2.0.
A little sicker.
and a lot tireder because, well, the holidays.
Bingo. A reminder that we are part of Sassy Bitches Productions, which you can listen to our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to episode 21 of Sick and Tired 2.0. Before the break, I was talking about my ankle, and Amy was talking about acupuncture. But I was wanting to talk about the holidays. So one of the things that I wanted to go over is, so I'm going to show this. The listeners won't be able to hear it, but Amy will be able to see it maybe, because sometimes if I hold it close enough.
I cannot.
Okay.
Because, you know why? Because your fancy background is in the way.
Oh, my fancy background's in the way. Okay, so I'll put it right to my face. Can you see it? Because of my face. Okay.
I see
Anyway.
two dots.
Okay, so so the writing group that I'm part of, the Adoptive Voices writing group, we had this exercise where we had to fill in the colors of a traffic light. So obviously they're red, yellow, and green, correct?
Interesting.
And so the exercise was, what will you say no to so that you can say yes to something else for the holidays? And so then you were supposed to write like what red meaning no, what things you are not going to do that you normally do for the holidays that make you crazy, green that you're going to do, and then we had extra credit. What was yellow? What does that mean? Because one of the gals that is actually one of the facilitators is a former cop from Chicago, so she knows what yellow means, and so she wanted to know if any of us knew what the yellow light actually meant, and I was the one that got it correct because I'm a nerd. Anyway, So yellow, just so in case you know, yellow means proceed with caution, right? So, but most people, depending on where you're from and who you are, yellow means step on the gas because it's not red. I'm just joking.
Yeah. That might be me in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And according to some traffic cameras, me too. Okay. So I had started with green because I wanted to say the things that I definitely wanted to say yes to. And then I was going to go from there. So my things that I'm saying that I want to do is be present, accept help, which is hard for me to do, even when I was completely injured and not able to do a lot of stuff. Practice grace. I'd like to take walks, which whatever that looks like, even if it's not perfect, if it's not a great walk or the hikes that I used to do, just being able to walk outside and get out of this house is awesome.
Agreed.
Take time out, be selfish, be playful, and eat that extra piece of pie and chocolate, right? So those are the things that I wanted to do. And then red, I said, say no. So that's hard for me to do. I think I say no a lot, but then when it's somebody that I really care about, it's hard to say no to them. I've noticed that. So enjoy things and not overdo them, which is really hard for me because I think I have to make the perfect looking Christmas with my 9 freaking trees. And this year I barely got one up because Robert he'll decorate crazy for Halloween with me, but I have to kind of force him to do Christmas, and usually I've done 90% of it because he doesn't want to do it. So this year he had to do the Christmas tree, and so I convinced him that we could do the one that is seen out on the street. And we did not obviously do the live Christmas tree. We had 2 reasons for that, because I couldn't hike around to get a live Christmas tree, and then also we had a little incident where the cats would drink the tree water and get really sick and throw up blood. So we kind of have to stop that. So anyway, so usually I have 9 trees. I know that sounds crazy, but some of them are just like little 3-foot trees that always have decorations on them. We just bring them upstairs. But now that we have 5 cats, they like to destroy the trees, so we don't have that many. But anyway, so I made him do the front, the one that goes in the front window that has the lights on it and blah blah. And
I would love to have
that about children.
One tree, because I like to have a lot of light around this time of year because everything is so bloody dark, and it gets.
Oh yeah, the sun sets at like noon.
Yeah, so it sunsets at noon. Forget it. We're all going back to bed at 12:30.
It's like, isn't it midnight? Oh my God, it's like 6 o'clock. That's what.
Well, and then when Christmas is over, you take the tree down at a certain point. And so then what you have left is blah. So I like to leave up snowmen and certain wintry things around the house. And I like to put up little white lights in place.
Like stars and stuff.
Yeah, and I have one of those plug-in branches that have the lights on the ends.
Oh, those are pretty.
Yeah, I love those things.
Yeah.
And actually my mom got one for me, I think last year, because we saw it at Home Goods, and I commented on, oh my gosh, I love these things, and she just went ahead and bought it for me. And it was an early Christmas gift, and so now I keep it up in January and February, and it just adds a little more positive. March, April.
You're like, no, but seriously, I get seasonal affective disorder, which is called SAD, right? It's in which is really weird because I absolutely love, I love winter, and actually it never used to bother me that it gets dark so early because I usually was working at night most of the time anyway. And so, because like when I was in the hair industry and then also massage, I never really noticed that the sun set earlier because I was usually inside. And then this year I'm really noticing it, and I think it's because I've got nothing but time on my hands. And so then I'd be like, oh my God, it's like literally tonight we went to the chiropractor. We went inside, and we weren't in the chiropractor for more than probably half an hour. We came out and it's black. I was like, what the heck happened in the 30 minutes we were inside the chiropractor's office? It's like blackout. So that's like, it's just crazy. So anyway, so I have to tell myself, we need to redefine what my holidays look like, because I've always believed that it has to be this like amazing holiday that I remember my mom doing, and that like there were always like a ton of presents, and they were always perfectly wrapped, and the tree was gorgeous, and like I said, I'd have 9 trees, and she would bake all this like amazing food, and we make all this stuff, and I'm realizing, you know what, I don't care anymore. We don't need to do it. This year I have a set reason why I'm not doing anything, which is my ankle, but even future, I'm not going to make myself crazy doing this anymore, because all it does is trigger me, and I end up every year crying in the dining room. I wrote because the piece that I ended up writing was like me crying in the dining room, because it didn't turn out the way that I thought it was supposed to turn out, and everybody else got stressed out too, because I thought it had to be this perfect thing, and so now I'm realizing it doesn't have to be this. and it's okay if it's not this perfect thing that I think it's going to be, because it ends up being more detrimental to me, my mental health, my physical health. I just, I can't. So, and then the cats kind of also make, they've decided that the trees are their enemy, so that they have a personal vendetta. I can't put any decorations on the tree other than lights, because they will destroy them. And I can't wrap any gifts, because they'll destroy their gift wrapping. So I can't have anything. And actually, I enjoy shopping after Christmas. It's so weird, because usually I don't like to have Christmas on Christmas. I'd rather go to the after Christmas sales and then buy the stuff then. I'm such a cheap ass. That's part of my problem. And
but you know what? I mean, right now with prices the way they are.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We don't have a lot of extra money because everything is going to care right now. And then, and so, but this year, my son and daughter-in-law and grandbaby, they want to come on Christmas, which is on a weekend this year, so that means I don't get an extra weekend to prepare. And I told him, I go, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. Yeah. If I have things wrapped to do, if I don't, I don't. It doesn't really matter, because grandbaby won't care. She's going to be 3 months old. You know what I mean? It's it's not going to really.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
So I have that question for you. What are you going to say no to so you can say yes to something else this holiday season?
Geez. Okay. What am I going to say no to? I'm going to say no to any unnecessary drama, which could be anything at this point. I'm going to try and say no to any negative thoughts or emotions that I might have.
Yeah.
From this whole debacle going forward. I need to try and find a way to move forward with this, what I think is now a new normal, unfortunately, and find some way to mentally deal with that.
Yeah.
So that I can say yes to other things, like taking walks and getting out of this house.
I would love to be able to do that. That's my goal, is to be able to get back to just taking a walk again.
Yeah. I need to say yes to socializing more.
That gets tough though, especially when you don't feel good. And
and that's been real tough for me, as you know. I've struggled with, but hopefully with not doing acupuncture anymore, maybe that will be a little better. I want to be able to say yes to doing some performing without having to cancel, because I feel like crap. So I'm going to say no to a lot of outside, unnecessary, negative, dramatic things that might invade my world of self-healing, basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no to a lot of stupid idiots out there right now shopping. I'm not good at it. I'm really not good at dealing with people this time of year. But the upside to this is that at work we learned that we will be getting a Christmas bonus.
Oh, nice.
And that will be on our next paycheck this week, which will be awesome. And so that's just a little bit more, money to spend some Christmas on. Because Christmas is kind of lean this year, like everybody else.
Well, everything is so expensive. Even if you had planned to have Christmas this year, everything's so expensive. It's just
it's ridiculous. And so we just wanted to focus mostly on Colin, make sure that he had a nice Christmas.
What's the big thing he wants this year?
He's getting older and he's getting harder to buy for. His two main focuses with his, autism brain, he's still into airplanes. So there's a lot of airplanes under the tree right now, model kits.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
He's got quite the collection. You should see it. And he's still into moths. and butterflies. So there's going to be a few things pertaining to that under the tree. He's getting older. He's getting more mature. He's not into a lot of the toys anymore. So part of me as a mom is kind of sad because I don't get to go in the Fisher-Price aisle. So I look forward to all of these people in my life that are having babies so that I can actually buy those fun things. And then for Carl and I, we're not spending as much on each other this year. We want to spend more on a new couch and love seat for the house.
Yeah, I hear you.
And the good news. Okay, so I had a car accident before Thanksgiving.
That's good news. No, I'm just checking.
Well, no, there's good news coming after. I shouldn't say that.
I was like, that's the good news.
No, there's good news to follow. Okay. It was right after my first acupuncture appointment. Of course it was.
Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah, it was a pop-up blizzard in North Liberty, and it wasn't happening anywhere in Iowa City.
It's not a fun pop-up.
Yeah. And so I came out in the pitch darkness, like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and the roads were very, very icy. So, I mean, a lot of us couldn't even slow down. We couldn't stop. There were people swerving everywhere. So I go to slow down at a stoplight, and there's a van in front of me. I could not stop at all. I tried everything possible, all the little tricks that you try. I could not stop, and he could not stop. So he was swerving the opposite way that I was swerving. I was trying to avoid him, but unfortunately I slammed right into the back of him. There was hardly any damage to his vehicle, but to my vehicle, it looked like I had a black eye. The headlight was completely shattered. Yeah. Fortunately, the policeman that followed up on it, he couldn't hardly stop to stop and talk to us. And he had no idea. He said, I think I'm going to be really busy tonight. He said, I had no idea the roads were like this. So, I wasn't at fault, fortunately. He didn't give a citation or anything. He said, this is totally weather related. But as it turns out, when we dropped my car off, they could not fix it. It was so bad. Once they started getting into the inside of it, it's completely totaled. Okay. So that was kind of like oh crap moment. Yeah. Yeah. What do we do now? Fortunately, Carl found a car from McGrath Auto in Dubuque, and it was the right price for what we could pay. And it's only 76,000 miles, and it's red. It's a Ford Fusion, and it's beautiful.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas to me.
Yay.
Some good that came out of that disaster. But anyway, back to what we were talking about now that we've segued 50 times.
No, it's okay.
I want to focus on baking the stuff that I couldn't bake last year that I couldn't eat, if that makes any sense.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Yeah, because, there's a lot of stuff you couldn't even eat last year.
Yeah, I'm generating a list of all kinds of goodies that I want to make, and I have a good time making that stuff around this time of year. I get kind of motivated to do that, and for me it's kind of relaxing to do. The music is going on, and you kind of feel a little bit of the spirit, I guess is how you would say it. So I want to do that, and I just want to focus on enjoying the time with my son before he gets too old,
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to enjoy him but what's lovely now is I have a grandbaby, and I'm gonna selfish and be like, I am gonna just hold her, and you guys are gonna have to do everything and wait on me.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna snuggle with her. So,
and as time moves on, in the next couple of years, it's gonna get so fun with her because she's gonna be at that age where Christmas is magical, and and all of that fun stuff.
It's kind of becoming magical again for us because of that. Because we have like a little kid that's going to be all excited about Christmas. So that's what I'm looking forward to is like baking cookies with her and having her decorate them and blah blah blah.
I just figure if I can't be overly active and if I have to watch it, that I can at least sit around like I am now and enjoy the moment, you know, because Christmas is so fast and so fleeting and so commercial, and I like to remember what it was like when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what I love.
It didn't seem so fast. It didn't seem so commercial. It didn't seem so superficial. It seemed like it was just a really enjoyable time.
Well, and what I was talking on a Zoom chat the other day about what good Christmas memories we have, and one of the things that I always loved, and it wasn't like I was deeply religious, but I loved the music, is we would always go to the candlelight service on Christmas Eve at the church that my mom and I went to, and my mom was the person that had to sit in the front pew, but the whole family would go, because usually my dad never went to church, my brother didn't go to church, but we would all go as a family, and we would sing different hymns, and then they would tell the Christmas story and blah blah blah, and then we would sing the different hymns, and then at the end we would always sing Silent Night, and they would light candles. They would hand out the candles, and then we would light them, and it would just be all the greenery and the candles, and the music, and it was so pretty, and that's when I would feel like it was Christmas. Okay, and so I still, like, even as an adult, I'll seek that out. So sometimes if I haven't heard enough of that Christmas music at that time, I'll find like a Christmas Eve service that people are going to do that. But lately, so my friend Matt Ford, who has RHCR theater, he does a Christmas show, and they always end it with Silent Night, and they always have the candles at the end. So I just love it, because that's when it feels like Christmas to me. So and if you think about it, that's like a simple thing. That's not like you have to go crazy. There's like 20 million gifts. It's not the commercialism, but that's, to me, what I remember most of Christmas when I was a kid. So, Christmas Eve for me is always very special. I always reflect back on the Christmases that I spent with my grandparents here in Iowa. On my mom's side, they both were just, they made Christmas so magical for their grandchildren. And I think it's because they worked very, very hard, to even have Christmas for their 4 children. And my grandfather especially grew up in a very, very poor family, 3 other brothers and 4 sisters, and hardly a dime to their name. And he talked about certain Christmases where he would wake up and there would be snow on the blankets. I mean, they were poor as church mice. I mean, they were, but his stories were so simple and so magical. And so as he got older and as he had grandchildren, I think he made sure that Christmas Eve especially was magical for us and special for us. And he would have these traditions that he had. For instance, one of them that I try to do on Christmas Eve at least is watch 2 movies that he would watch with us when we were kids. And that was It's a Wonderful Life and Scrooge, Christmas Carol. Yeah.
And the interesting story about the Scrooge movie is that when he was in World War II, he was in England at the time of Christmas. And he had never seen that movie, right? So he didn't have, like we had, access to all this technology and TV and all that. He had read the book, and he'd always loved the book, but he had never seen an actual movie adaptation of the story. And so when he was in London, he went to this movie theater on Christmas Eve night in the evening, and he saw the first movie adaptation
of A Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Christmas Carol. And then after that, he started watching more versions of it as time went on. And it just became a tradition for him on Christmas Eve to watch some version of it with his children or his grandchildren. And so I remember that going forward. And so I always try to do that. and it's kind of like a moment for me, because I kind of tap into him at that moment. Yeah. And my grandpa died on Christmas morning.
Oh my gosh.
But it was sort of, I don't know, it was sort of fitting.
Yeah.
Because I think he purposely waited until Christmas morning to go, because he was really, really, really going on Christmas Eve night. And then early in the morning hours he went. But at the same time, it wasn't really sad. It was appropriate for him, because Christmas for him was a huge deal as a child. Growing up on into adulthood, he just became a bigger kid. So, and I found that adaptation a couple years ago. I can't remember who's in it. I can't even tell you what year it was done. I know it was very, very early, and it's a very short adaptation. It's only like an hour. Yeah,
I think I've seen it too.
Yeah. It's a very interesting version. I mean, it's a very over dramatic.
Oh yeah.
But that's why I love Christmas Eve the most. And I don't like to be overly busy on Christmas Eve, because I just kind of like the quiet, magic of it. It's just magic.
Yeah, that's what I like too. Because then after that church service, we would go home and we would each of us would get to open one gift. And I think it was kind of because so that we wouldn't wake up mom and dad at like 3 a.m. I think is what it was, because we were so excited to open the rest of it. But we would just open one gift. But then how we kept the magic going for Jordan, so that he kind of believed in Santa for a long time, is that we would always, because I knew he was a smart kid and would be like, why does Santa have the same wrapping paper as you? You know what I mean? So, so what we did is we would always leave one gift. Like he dropped it in the fireplace and it was not wrapped. So that would be like from Santa, right? And the rest of them were from us. And because one year, because I wasn't sure if he was still like believing in Santa, but he would always kind of act like he did. And I was like, is he doing it because he thinks that I'm going to, that I think he does? But we had put new glass doors on our fireplace, and we kept catching him, and he was kind of messing with them. And we're like, what are you doing? And he'd be like, no, nothing. And finally I was like, are you trying to test those to see if Santa can come through them? And he finally goes, yeah. And I go, oh, Santa's magic. He can come through them. And some places don't even have fireplaces. So he can, don't worry. It'll happen. But so I realized he still kind of he wasn't, I think he was in that stage of like, I'm not sure if I still believe in this, but I also don't want to find out that he can't get through here. Right. So, so that was sweet that he still remembers, but. Yeah, but that's what I remember too, is my grandparents and my mom always making Christmas very special. She even made fruitcake every year. She would bake everything. She would literally, like, I would watch her like douse it in rum, and
oh my,
I was like, who is actually eating this? It was like she had to bake it every year, and I swear nobody ate it. I don't know what
she throw it in the fireplace after.
I don't know what she ever did with them, but she always made them. She'd always have like all the candy fruits in them. Every year she'd bake them, but like all the other stuff, everybody ate all. She'd always make like the candy cane cookies and. I can just remember.
My grandma did that.
Yeah. I think everybody made those. Yeah. Weird Jello mold. Chad, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you done?
No. So we were kind of talking about like what we're gonna do for the holidays. Like, so what I said is, what are you gonna say no to so you can say yes to something else, or a favorite holiday memory?
Oh, well.
Not that we're putting you on the spot, but we are.
Okay. Well, sorry,
And you'll have to edit this part so that it doesn't sound like we.
Well, I think I'm gonna just keep it this way because it's kind of fun. What was Chad doing off in the background?
You don't want to know what Chad was doing off in the background.
I can tell you what I've been doing. I've been watching or rewatching the show Eureka. And while you were busy recording, I was on my little computer monitor watching Eureka. So exciting, right? It's such quite the holiday thing. So favorite holiday memories. Are you ready? Or memory? Sure. You just need one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Santa. Shh, don't tell anybody. But my wife and I are Santa and Mrs. Claus. I think we might have mentioned it once or twice on the show before. And one of my favorite memories is as Santa Claus, kids would ask for the craziest stuff. And I think did I already tell you about the craziest thing the kid asked on the show? I don't remember if I did or not.
I think you did.
Okay, the duct tape and the
familiar, but I can't answer the question.
So this kid comes up to me as Santa, and Mom is like, yeah, and I'm like, so what would you like for Christmas? And the kid wanted zip ties, rope, and duct tape.
Is he going to kidnap somebody?
I don't know. That's what he wanted. So what was the other thing you asked? What I would say no to?
What are you going to say no to this holiday season so you can say yes to other things?
Well, probably some sort of food, I guess. I'm working on getting healthy again. And because at one time I was up to 335 pounds back about 10 years ago. And then I lost a bit of weight, got down to about 270. And then during COVID, I got back up to close to 290 again. Mm-hmm. So I'm down to 282, give or take. Depends on if I had a movement or not, right? Before I get on the scale, right? So
nice. You can poop out 2 pounds?
Yeah, I'm down a few pounds, but Christina is down like 20
she
or
looks,
30
yeah,
pounds.
I can tell in her pictures. I was like, goodness, she's lost weight.
She's really working. She's not like doing anything too crazy. She's using the MyFitnessPal app and tracking her food. Yeah. And then she's walking at lunch. Doesn't matter if it's rain or shine or whatever. So she'll walk. Yeah, well, she'll walk about a half hour, and then she'll mix it up, and she'll do she's like 2-pound weights that she does these workout videos too, that she found on YouTube. So I'd probably say no to some sort of delicious cookies or something that I normally would eat. I'm really proud of myself. This week I got like a Little Caesars Detroit style pizza. It came with 2 pizzas in the box, and it took me a few days to eat one of the pizzas, and I ended up throwing another pizza away, which is a waste. Wasting food is bad, but is it in this case? Because I'm really proud of myself for not eating that second pizza. Right. So it's a struggle. I mean, I wish one of my kids would have taken the other pizza, but they didn't want it. It's not like I didn't offer. And a cake that I normally would have eaten in 2 days, I have still working on a week and a half later. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But as far as that's it. That's what I have.
So the other thing that I wanted to pose to both of you is so we can either do one of two things. So we can either talk about New Year's resolutions, which I've never been a big fan of.
Me either.
And because I think they're silly. But what I like is this, what are you going to say no to so you can say yes to something else? I would, if I'm ever going to do a New Year's resolution, it'd be something more like that. But since we kind of have done this for a year now, if you can think back to some of our previous episodes, my brain doesn't work all the time anymore like it used to. So I was trying to think of what are some fun memories of some episodes or some things that happened during some episodes or some guests that we had that maybe you want to remember. So while you guys think about it, I'll try and kind of bumble my way through what I can remember.
Well, I have a hard time remembering too. I mean, first of all, I can't believe that we've done this.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it for over a year, but I think with Chad, we've done it for a year now. Because I remember posting that it's a new year, it's a new. We had started the production company, Sassy Wishes Productions. So some of the stuff that I'm going to cheat, and one of the memorable ones is the broken. I've had a lot of people still comment about the broken ankle episode because that's just funny. But I guess another one that seemed to be a big hit was when I talked about the Korean spa.
I was just going to say that came to my mind.
The revagination.
The revagination of the Korean spa was a very popular episode. So, But yeah, we've had some good guests too. I mean, you had your friend that came, and
Then you had Sarah, and that was a fun one. My favorite thing is some of the stuff that doesn't make it on the air. Like, we have a lot of side conversations.
We do.
We have a lot of side conversations before and after we record. We've become pretty good friends in the last, because I didn't really know Amy before, and Jenny and I have known each other for a very long time.
And we've done a podcast together before, Chad.
Yeah, the Canman show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were a regular guest on the show, co-host even. You even have a trading card somewhere.
Yeah, I think I sent you a picture of, like, I found it because I was going through my desk and I was cleaning out, and I was like, oh my God, I have my old trading cards from this. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the guests that you've had have been pretty great. I mean, not counting my family, because my family's been on here a lot. But I mean, your other guests, like Amy's friend, that was a good one. You've
Are we
had.
talking about Jody?
What's that?
Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode to listen to. And then my favorite thing is, like, editing stuff out that, like, oh my gosh, the guest doesn't want me to say that. They just, no, they don't, cut that out, please.
Oh, yeah.
Those, I like that. And, this is stuff that's never going to hit the podcast. Some of that stuff is juicy.
Because one of our guests, it was this had been recorded in the other studio, which we won't name. But by the time we post, but it was like it never aired from that studio, and so then we had Chad edit it. And I remember, I'm not going to say what she had us edit out, but she was like, later she was like, okay, I just realized normally I wouldn't care what I said, but since I work with kids, I probably shouldn't have a story out talking about blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah. So I won't say what it is because it's not that big a deal. I won't even say who it was.
When I think back to episodes of, like, the Canman show, there are some episodes, like entire episodes, I couldn't put out because someone after the fact goes, I can't be on there because of what Shaka Boom said, or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do? I just throw it away. There was one full episode that Cara Worthington was on, and I seriously, I was so tempted to keep it just so I could go back and listen to it one day, but I didn't want to be tempted to actually put it online because it was bad. Like, there was a lot of, like, bad. It was just bad. Just stuff that you don't want out there or be associated with. And back then, I was really didn't want to swear on the show and that kind of stuff.
I was a terrible guest because you'd always be like, Jenny, you cannot use the F-bomb.
Yeah, well, I fixed that. At one point, I just said, fuck it, I'm done. And just started. I used to.
Well, I made it really hard on him too because like I would F-bomb when somebody else was talking, so you can't edit me out because then you're basically editing what they said out.
We did some stupid shit back then too.
No more talking over each other because I can't edit that.
And we did some stupid shit back then, so I mean, yeah, that was fun, but.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, and it just doesn't feel like it's been that long. But then you go back and you go, "Oh shit, that was." Now I'm swearing all over the place. What'd you do? Look what you did to me, damn it! Just going back and looking at that, I was like, oh my god, that was like almost 15 years ago. Some of that stuff, 20 years ago.
Well, like when I look at some of this stuff and like Facebook memories will come up and I'll be like, my God, we were babies, and I think about that time because we were. When I was like doing a lot of theater, I was in like my 20s and 30s. That's like a whole other lifetime ago. And I think about it like my son is like 31 now. And so I'm like, my God, I was doing crazy shit at his age. And here he's acting all responsible and stuff. So.
Right.
So any New Year's moments that you like, Amy? I'm putting you on the spot.
I like the curry and spa episode. That's probably my favorite, I think. It's hard for me to remember everything.
That's what I'm saying. It's part of my
can I just say maybe I don't know, not my favorite topics to talk about, but I do I do enjoy it when we talk about when we have that mental health episode every now and then.
I love the mental health,
because I've gotten so many comments from different people saying, thank you for doing a mental health episode every now and then. It's helpful for me to listen to it. Makes me feel like I can go talk about it again. because I think it really puts a spotlight on how important it has become over this decade,
Yeah, for sure. Because how often in your adult life do you ever have somebody that goes, Amy, seriously, how are you doing? I just want to know how you're doing. I'm checking with you mentally and see how you're doing. And that just never happens. So, so I kind of wanted to do something. It's kind of selfish for me, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So that writing exercise that I told you about, that was a prompt to get you to kind of write something. So I'm going to read the piece that I actually wrote, and because it kind of has to do with the season. So I kind of actually wrote two really short pieces. So the one's called Red Light, Green Light, and the other one is called Proceed with Caution, because as I told you, the yellow light is about caution, right? So I'll just read these really quickly. Okay, so red light, laying my head down on the red tablecloth in the dining room and weeping when no one could see me from sheer exhaustion and frustration because the desire to be perfect and create the perfect holiday had far missed the mark. I had overdone it once again, and instead of creating the holiday masterpiece of my youth and memories, I had created a debacle that no one had enjoyed and would only remember for the wrong reasons, and not the laughable kind like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but the kind more like feeling like I was the giant robot girl in Squid Game who played red light, green light, and shot you if you moved. Green light. Go out and play. It's snowing. Enjoy the day, I yelled at the top of my lungs as we saw the snow falling and decided the perfect holiday table could go to hell, and that living in the moment and enjoying the snow and throwing snowballs at one another would be much more important and memorable than any picture-perfect turkey, and these dishes can wait to be cleaned. Yellow. Proceed with caution. The phone. I dread answering the phone this time of year, especially when all the people I care to hang out are already in my home and accounted for, so who would be calling me on the phone? I mean, the mystery of that is, of course, told by the caller ID, but that decision to answer or let it go to voicemail, that is so torturous. I know if I answer, I will be drawn into an argument, but if I don't answer, I will be shamed later. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Triggered. To be or not to be? That is the sucky question. Red light. This year, I have a built-in excuse to let people know I can't or won't be able to do things. My broken ankle. But what will I do the next year for other things? I need to have a plan. I need to say no, and I need to not overdo. I need to limit who I spend time with, and even waste energies on. I do that a lot. Social media causes me to do that. I have too many people who are triggering or horrible people on my social media, and even though I should purge them, I don't, and end up wasting a lot of time and energy and losing sleep over why they don't like me anymore or invite me to things anymore. In the new year, I'm purging my friends list again and sticking to it. Green light. Baby kisses and snuggles. That's all I want. Grandbaby kisses and snuggles. And that's what I'm going to spend my whole holidays doing. And I'm going to be selfish and say no to everyone else and not try to be everything to everybody and just let people help me and wait on me. Even in the years I don't have a broken ankle, and be okay with it. I will not care if all 9 of my trees are up and if all the presents are wrapped perfectly. I will not kill myself cooking the perfect dinner, and I will do what I can. I will eat chocolate, and I will have an extra piece of pie. I want the holidays and memories of my granddaughter to be about love and happiness instead of a crazy grandmother. So anyway, so the second one is more kind of adoptee related, so I'm not going to read that one, but
that was awesome.
Awesome.
So when you said about not being invited to places and hanging out with people anymore, I was kind of going through that same thought process lately. I'm like, what'd I do to piss people off? Or, why don't I get invited places anymore? I think it's because I don't put myself out anymore. Like, I'm a homebody now. I'm older. I've spent more time at home. And we have more time because our kids, are off doing their own thing. But I've kind of become a little bit more introspective lately about exactly that. I mean, I used to go out all the time with friends and be invited places, and And it just doesn't happen anymore. Not saying, Jenny, call me up and let's go do something sometime, but...
Well, but I get it. I'm kind of in that same boat.
But I think as you get older, you get choosy with how you socialize, you know.
And who you're going to spend your time and energies with.
Absolutely. It's all about the energy, like you were talking about in your piece there, Jenny. Yes. Because for me, especially when you got to the social media piece, I feel you on that. I've been off of social media quite a bit, and I'm just now getting back on it, but in little spurts. And you know what? I'm okay with that. And I felt better not being on it, not being on display.
Your mental health gets so much better without it.
It becomes a club. It becomes a clique.
Yeah.
He's doing this with her, and she's doing this with her, and but where am I? You know, I'm stuck at home. And it's a whole vicious cycle you go through, and you just have to go, you know what? I have got things to do that are better than this. And I think, like I said, you become choosy who you spend your time with and how you spend it when you socialize, because I don't want to go out and socialize with people who are involved in these petty, childish dramas anymore. You know, come on. I mean, we're all adults here.
Yeah.
I want to spend my socializing time having an intelligent conversation with someone across the table. I want you to talk to me about your day. I want you to talk to me about your life. I want you to talk to me about how you're feeling today, and you know what your job is like, and all of that stuff. I want you to tell me about the margarita that you had yesterday. You know, I don't care about the stuff that I used to care about when I was 18.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. And you know, I think especially with the pandemic, I became very selfish about who I spent my time and energies with, and then it became more about family at that point. Yeah, and so that's who I'd rather spend my time. And then, you know, very close friends. Yeah, exactly. So.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And if people are out there judging that statement, then they're the problem. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one personally that I'm judging myself. I don't think anyone's judging me. I just think that I haven't been around somebody, so I'm like the last person they think of nowadays. Because, you know, when I did theater, I had all my theater family, and I was around them, and then we got close, and then, you know, after a show, you kind of grow apart.
Right.
And then, you know, that kind of thing. But then you do another show, and then you have a whole other theater family. Sometimes it's the same people.
Don't be hard on yourself, Chad.
Oh, I'm not. I just was, you know, mentioning that piece that you wrote, Jenny, really touched me a little bit, because I'm like, wow, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So that's all I was saying.
It's not like it's like consuming me. Like, oh my God, why does nobody like me? It's just an observation, and that's what it does to me, and I'm letting it go.
Jenny.
So, well, this sounds like a good place to wrap up, because you know, the timer's going, and it's
I just wanted to say one thing to you before you wrap up, Jenny. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and darn it, people like you.
People like you.
I love you, Stuart Smalley.
All right. Well, we here at Sassy Bitches Productions and Sick and Tired 2.0 wish all of you a safe and happy holiday, however you want to celebrate, and a happy new year. This has been Amy with an A.
And Jenny with a Z.
And you've been listening to
Sick and Tired 2.0.
A little sicker.
And a lot tireder.
This has been a Sassy Bitches production. I have truly enjoyed doing this podcast with both of you and all of our special guests this year.
And I have enjoyed doing this with both of you.
I've kind of liked it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah,
okay?
I'm kind of, I just, you know, I'm here for the ride.
I just want to say it one more time, even though it's not true. See you next Tuesday.
And one more time for everyone.
Have a happy new year that's moist.
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 Okay, I'll get on the moist train. Moist, moist, moist.
Too moist.
Love it.
2.0.
There's a moist train.
I just did it right now.
We're on it. Didn't you know that?
Come on, ride it.
We've been
I would love to be on a moist train.
for a long time.